Guys, we're sitting here with the winners, as you've probably seen by now. The putt's gone somewhat viral. Billy Haynes made the 50-footer from the back of the green, but it was a lot of Dan's play on the front nine and coming down the stretch to be crowned the GL champions. Trunax's GL championship, brought to you by Golf Now. I've never thought I'd say that for a par three golf tournament, but here we are. Congrats, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
And just so you know, during the whole broadcast, I was wearing this hat, and just like I did during the broadcast, I'm going to do something real quick and look a little bit like you guys.
Yeah.
There we
Swamp
go.
Dog.
Much better. Much
That's-
better.
Pink is your color.
This is my color. I want to start off by kind of taking a step back and ask the question: how did you guys find your way onto the Swamp Dogs? Because I dubbed you guys the hired guns, coming in, flying in from California and New York. But how did you find your way onto the team?
Billy, did you want to start or?
Sure. I have a buddy. I'm from Buffalo, still live in Buffalo, and I had a buddy to move to California. I don't even know who he knew. I think he may have known, may know our owner, Mr. Herman. But I think maybe Ben was looking for another guy and another team, and was asking around. And my buddy Chad Schaff, who used to live in Buffalo, now lives in California, said, "Hey, why don't you look at this guy Billy from Buffalo?" And so I got a call, and I was like, "Sure, this sounds fun. I'm interested." So went from there.
Billy from Buffalo.
Right, go
Love
Bills.
that. What about you, Dan?
Well, mine was sort of similar. I also didn't know Ben, but I just happened to be at a country club nearby. I was meeting someone in the bar, and I walked in, and there was a bunch of guys sitting around having a drink, and all of a sudden, one of them turned around and said, "Oh man, there's your guy." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And I knew a bunch of the guys in there. They said, "Hey, this is the guy that you should have play for the grass league." And that was Greg Villanueva's, at his club. So that's how I got to meet Greg, and and then ended up with Ben.
So did you guys know each other before the grass clippings opened?
Billy and I?
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God.
No, we met on that practice round day before the first one. So
Yeah, we met in April.
yeah, April.
So I'm assuming sky's the limit for you guys. Some of these teams have been playing with each other since they were in grade school. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about that. Just showing up and you got a partner, and you just go out and you guys top 10 in the first tournament. People forget about that.
Yeah, I was pumped. Because I didn't know who I was going to be paired with. I didn't know. I looked up Dan though, and I was like, all right, this guy's a dud. So I knew by looking him up, but I could have been paired with maybe a 3 handicap, a 5 handicap, and wouldn't have won the grass league without a great player like Dan. So it was awesome.
That's incredible. I mean, I think the hired guns is an accurate description of you guys.
Yeah, I've got a lot of buddies that are reaching out and tell me there's the hired gun. They love that.
And my next question would be, not only what does it mean to be a Swamp Dog, but have the Swamp Dogs talked about some kind of long-term commitment to you guys to be a part of their team?
You'd have to go through my agent probably for that, but no, they've been awesome. Ben and Greg have been awesome, dealing with us and taking care of our expenses out there, and some prize money involved too. It's really cool. It's something I didn't expect to ever be a part of, and proud to be a Swamp Dog and glad to get the franchise a W.
What about you, Dan?
Sorry, what was the question?
I mean, what is it
what's it feel?
to be a Swamp Dog? And then on top of that, I'm assuming, knowing Ben Herman and GV, they've probably said, "Hey, now that you've won this tournament, you're not going anywhere." Has there been discussions about, "Hey, you're with us for the next year or 10 years?" Or
Well, a little bit. So I had been looking forward to meeting Ben because all week long people are like, "Oh, how do you know Ben? How do you know Ben?" And I was like, "I don't know." And he teed off, way before us on that final day, so I didn't even get to meet him that day. So after we won on Friday night, I decided to play Silverleaf with one of the guys who I played against the day before, Chris Marshall, who's a member out there. And I was like, we set up a money game out of Silverleaf. And so, showed up all hungover, celebrating the win. And after we got off the 18th, no, we were about halfway through the round, and Ben came out in his really cool golf cart and introduced himself. And he did say that I'm a swamp dog for life if I want to be. And so it was really neat. So obviously, I'm a swamp dog, and I'm hoping to be one for the rest of my life.
I'm jealous. When I grew up, I want to be a swamp dog. That's for sure. But the grass league was kind of founded upon this idea that there are golf stories all over the world that typically don't get told, and we're trying to uncover a lot of those stories through this league, through this stage, this outlet. Can you guys, one by one, give me just a brief background of your guys' golf resume or your connection to golf?
Go ahead, Billy.
Yeah, I'll start. So yeah, I played a lot of junior golf in Buffalo. One of the better players, got to play my collegiate golf at University of Richmond. After that, went to work for family business, but still kept playing. And still fortunate to play in some major amateur events throughout the country. I won the 2022 and 2023 New York State Golf Association mid-amateur. So that's given me some opportunities, and probably why my friend recommended me to Swamp Dog management to be part of the team. So yeah, pumped to be 30. I'm 38 now and still play competitive golf around the country. It's something you can't do in most sports. And it was really great to be on national TV on Peacock and have a bunch of people watch me, and to have those putts going at the end was really cool.
How about you, Dan?
Well, my golf story. So I took it up a little bit late. I was really into skateboarding and boogie boarding and tennis and soccer. And I'll never forget this first day of my seventh grade summer. Some guys, they asked me to play golf for the first time, and they'd been playing golf for years, I guess. And I'll never forget this. On the first tee at this crappy little public course, I had a driver and I kept swinging and missing, and they were laughing at me. And, I played 18 holes and it was, I shot a million, and I'd never been bad at a sport before. And I decided that night that I was going to spend the rest of my summer getting good at golf and beating those guys. And so, basically just asked mom, hey, take me to the course at 6 a.m, pick me up at 6 p.m. And I just became obsessed with it, quit all my other sports. And from there, it went from just wanting to beat those guys to then when I was in high school, there's a golf course that was built right across the street from my parents' house, but it was really expensive, like a high-end resort course. And I never got to play it. And then someone said, the junior varsity golf team gets to play there for free. I was like, no way. So I was like, I got to make this golf team. So, tried out for the golf team, made it, started to get really good. And they were like, well, you need to go to varsity. And I said, no. I don't know where they play, and it was like, well, they play at a better course, better country club. I was like, yeah, but I can't walk there. So I'm staying on JV. And eventually they forced me to go to, and it just kind of progressed from there. I ended up finishing my junior year. I finished second in the CIF championships to Tiger. And then all of a sudden, all these colleges were like, they took notice of me, and, never had aspirations to be a professional golfer. But I was like, oh, maybe I can go to college on a scholarship and save my parents some money. Then I went to college and, continued to progress. And then I went and played professionally for 15 years until I was 42 years old. And it beat me up so good that I decided that I needed to get a real job.
Well, I've read a lot about you guys and your connection to golf. And most notably, Dan, you were quoted saying you lost the love of the game playing professionally, and then you became an amateur again. Can you explain why you lost the love of the game?
Yeah. I didn't know really that I'd lost it until I quit playing professionally. I knew that I wasn't enjoying I wasn't enjoying myself, going to Q school and, coming up short and, losing my status on the Corn Ferry Tour and having to start all over again. I knew that wasn't fun, but I didn't really know what golf meant to me until I quit. And once I quit, I didn't play golf for several months. But then once I was ready, I started playing and realizing, man, golf is fun when your life doesn't feel like it's on the line. Your livelihood doesn't depend on it. And, it took me back to remembering, like, the most fun I ever had in golf was junior golf, trying to break 100, then trying to break 90, trying to break 80. And, people would always come up to me at my club and say, God, golf must be so fun to play it the way you do. And I said, well, when I shoot 71, I want to kill myself. So, it's all relative, right? And, so that, yeah, when I got into amateur golf, I played a few tournaments and I realized, I love competing. And now I'm back to enjoying the game the way I did when I was a kid.
I'm looking in the background of where you guys are sitting right now. There's a hell of a lot of trophies behind you guys. And so with that being said, where does this stack up in terms of the tournaments you guys have, your golf accomplishments or tournaments won?
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like you have a lot of them.
I'm a bit of a trophy whore, to be honest. I've gotten this question actually a few times from buddies, like, where does that rank in any of the wins you've ever had? It's right there. I mean, the way the tournament finished, and for us to beat a Solheim Cupper and Allison Lee, that's crazy, right? It was really a great experience, and to be in a team atmosphere with music and in a crowd and in a playoff on Peacock, you can't beat the thrill of that win. So in terms of excitement, 100% like the most fun I've ever had on the golf course and my favorite win. A state championship is tough to beat because it's the complete game, and so it's right up there. It's tough to explain to some people how you enjoyed that more than anything you've ever done in golf, because I've been playing most of my life. So,
what about you, Dan?
Well, I don't really have that many trophies. I have if I look back. Oh yeah, I only keep the ones that are cool. Back here, I've got this. It's like an old putter. I've only played a few amateur tournaments, but the one that I really like is called the Kelly Cup at Lakeside Country Club, and it's a bunch of mid-ams in California. And I won it the first 3 years that I played it, and 2 of the years I got this really cool hickory shafted club. Besides that, my club championship. Oh no! Oh, this is the coolest one. I love this one. It was our member guest overall gross. We got a championship belt. I don't know if you can see that.
That's quite the trophy.
But, you can actually wear it. So, that's about as good as it gets right there. Thing's heavy. Yeah, I haven't, professional golf, well, first off, I didn't win that many. I never won on the PGA Tour where you would get a big trophy. Trophies for me were just checks that would pay the rent. And I never played a ton of amateur golf, so I don't really have that many trophies. When I finished second to Tiger, I think I got a silver plate. But then, or maybe it was pewter, and my mom said that you could get sick if you ate off of it. So I have no idea where that thing is now.
So where does this stack up?
Oh no, I wish that I had a championship trophy to hang. This was easily by far and away the most fun I've ever had playing in a golf tournament. Like the most pressure I've ever felt maybe is kind of around a second stage, when your career feels like it's on the line. But when I would make it, it was, there wasn't this exuberation. It was more like, relief. And, I've won some professional tournaments where, I got a pretty good paycheck, but I just remember being sort of tired and, obviously happy that I won. And, but I just couldn't really, it wasn't like a real celebration. When Billy made that putt in the playoff, I saw a video of it. I ran, as fast as a 50-year-old white dude can run, and jumped jumped on his back and, I'm jumping all over people. I mean, I haven't done that since, Little League baseball, like you don't do that in the golf tournaments that I've played. So I've never had that much fun, and certainly never had that much fun watching someone else make a putt. That was, it's incredible. I can't, I think maybe winning the lottery would probably be an equivalent feeling in the moment, but I haven't done that yet.
You guys are like the perfect blend of teammates. You have, an established, accomplished amateur golfer. And then Dan, you've been a pro, back to amateur. You guys have seen like the entire landscape of golf. Where, when we started this out and said we're going to have a par 3 league, 2-man scramble, 2-person scramble under the lights, grandstands. When we said this about a year and a half ago, some people thought we were crazy. But that now is, with this coming to fruition and then having an ending like that, where do you guys see in your minds where grass league can kind of fit in the golf landscape as we see it today?
I think it's perfectly positioned to be something that the average golfer can tune into and have some interest watching more than the average PGA Tour event on a random day. There's just more going on. Maybe there's some better looking people in the crowd. Maybe there's some beers being thrown on the green, like a couple times during the end of ours. Then during the end of our win, you don't get outside of the rock that much excitement or animation from players. Even when I've won amateur events or done well, you're not fist pumping at the end, throwing your club, jumping up and down with another guy and pointing at the crowd. Number one, there is no crowd. Number two, there's nobody to celebrate with. So again, I was talking about this with other people as well. Even the U.S. Mid-Am, which for a guy like me, Mid-Am golf is incredible, and the U.S. Mid-Am is the pinnacle of that. You get to play in the Masters if you win it, and you're in the U.S. Open. Again, if somebody wins the U.S. Mid-Am, they're not jumping around and having those celebrations like Dan and I had at the end of Grass League.
What do you think, Dan?
Well, I think that one of the neatest things about the Grass League, and one of the things that turns me off about amateur golf is how they sort of pigeonhole you into, okay, you're an amateur or you're a mid-amateur or there's a senior amateur, and it was age dependent, and a lot of times it's strength dependent. And I never liked that. It's like, I'm like, man, if I'm an amateur, I want to beat the best amateurs in the country. But you're playing 36 holes and you're playing multiple days in a row, and it's probably not going to happen. And they're hitting their drivers 100 yards past me. And I don't really want to play in senior because it's kind of like admitting that, okay, yeah, I am old. So the thing that is amazing about the Grass League is that it really levels the playing field because it takes the driver out of play. And so to me, it's almost the ultimate form of golf because, we did get to, we played against Allison Lee, right? I could see someone, I mean, literally anybody could be great in this format who's great at golf. And I like how it brings people together. It doesn't have to be that LPGA, PGA Tour, such a structured thing, but hey, if you want to have two girls or, one guy, one girl, one 70-year-old dude and one 16-year-old girl, you just make the best team you can make. And I feel like anything is possible on this tour. I really do think that, I think that that's a unique aspect of this tour that I think is going to really help it catch on. And obviously the fun factor is through the roof. It's like, playing the 16th at TPC Scottsdale, over and over again. So, I think the Grass League has a great future, and, I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Well, you're a swamp dog for life, as Ben Herman said. Billy, I want to ask you about the final putt. You have said in the past that when you get over a golf ball, you can't try to be working on your swing or you're doing this or that. You said paint the picture in your head and go. What was going through your head on the final putt? Did you actually paint the picture of that ball going in?
Yeah, so that is one of my things. It definitely helps to have a couple drinks in me, which the high noons were helping. But yeah, to to paint the picture of, I definitely did paint the picture. I got in his zone. I was trying to hit the best putt I could. I think Dan hit it like 3 or 4 feet by. So I was actually just trying to make sure that I hit the putt perfect pace, to make sure we didn't have any knee knocker, in case they missed. And then when I saw it get close, I was like, wow, this could really happen. And it went in and kind of blacked out from there, to be honest, until I saw it on replay. So.
Well, I called it on the broadcast when you guys were walking up on the playoff hole. I said Swamp Dogs money line. I believe in you in the darkest of moments when they put it to 8 feet and you guys had a 50-footer. But I don't know if you saw the rankings got released today for the best par 3 golfers in the world. You're number 1, Dan, and that's no slight against you, Billy, because having watched that round, unfold, Dan was really was locked in. Obviously, you made the big putt, but what is does that make it even any sense to you that now you're telling your buddies I'm ranked in this grass league as the best par 3 golfer in the world? Sounds like nonsense, but people are taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I saw the rankings after the first event in April, and Billy and I we were a shot away from the playoff, and I noticed that we were. I know that I wasn't in the top 25, and one of my friends showed it to me, and it's like, you're not even in the top 25. He goes, "What are you ranked?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I'm probably 26." Kind of kidding, but who knows? Maybe I'm 100. And I said, but you know what? Hopefully I get another chance and I can crack the top 25. And so, yeah, when that came out today, for me, it's just a lot of fun to be able to send to my buddies and be like, hey, I'm number 1, at something. What are you number 1 at? It's, I mean, obviously it's neat to be there, but there's no way to really quantify, who the best player is, because obviously it's a team event. So, I mean, I did play well. I mean, but it's possible somebody played better than me, but you know what? They didn't have Billy making a 100-footer on the last hole. So that's
Dan after dark was tough to beat. I mean, I did my best to hit it to like 10, 15 feet. And even our caddy said, just please keep doing what you're doing because Dan is just so freed up and down. He hits so many tight. And then his putter was on fire. I get the putting credit because I made the 2 at the end, but man, he was putting unbelievable both days, and he definitely deserves to be number 1. He is Dan after dark, and I would not want to be against him under the lights.
And where did the Dan after dark nickname come from?
I don't know. I don't know who said it first. It was in April though, Dan. We said that first in April, but
it was Bryce Butler, who we played with, the wide receiver, former wide receiver for the Cowboys. Yeah, and actually, I spoke with him yesterday. He congratulated us, and he was pretty excited to see that his nickname seemed to stick because there was a little write-up and it did mention Dan after dark. So yeah, he created it, and he's loving it just as much as I am.
That's great.
Did Dan after dark, the 2 of you, did you guys make it up to Silverleaf Friday night?
No,
but you were out there the next day, obviously.
I went out the next day. Yeah.
What did you say, Billy?
Party?
Why? I enjoyed the bar. I enjoyed the bar there at Grass Clippings, and then we went into Old Town Scottsdale a bit and partied. And yeah, it was. I don't. And then I truly did black out. I blacked out when I made that putt, and I blacked out a couple hours later.
I mean, because I kept saying I wish we had a live feed up there because Ben Herman was already back at Silverleaf, and there was somewhat of a watch party up there. I can't imagine what they were doing when that putt went in, but we've gotten a lot of inbound interest from players wanting to play in the league now. What advice would you tell them about, teaming up with a player or a potential partner and, how to be successful in the grass league?
I'd say the most important thing is to get somebody that is clutch, to be honest, right? Somebody that can handle pressure, maybe that has more tournament experience because again, you're going to be in a totally different environment. This isn't your weekend with the boys, $10 Nassau. This is under the lights with music going on with a crowd. So it's just a different scene. And like any team golf, there's generally a little more pressure on you than individual because you want to do well for your partner.
Yeah. I don't know if I have any advice. I guess my advice, just based on our experiences, team up with someone you've never met before. You're kind of starting from scratch. I mean, Billy, he's never seen me miss a 2-footer before he met me. We don't know each other's games. We just knew that if we both played well and had a good time, that we'd probably end up doing pretty well. So, I that would be my only advice. I mean, it worked for us.
I love it. I envy the day. I envy you guys for getting a random phone call about, hey, we're going to need your services in Phoenix, Arizona for a golf tournament under the lights. That sounds like something out of a book written in the early 1900s. So I got to say how jealous I am. But kind of wrapping this thing up, what for me the part that gets me about this tournament and this layout and everything are the lights. And lights have never really been incorporated into golf. So you've now played in 2 tournaments, and what can you say about playing under the lights? The grandstands are one thing, but the lights, primetime television, put that in your guys' own perspective.
For me, the difficult part of it is when you're going from sunset into night, so you get some depth perception issues for sure. So a few shots I did not hit as solid, or maybe you got like a shadow at night. That's different. The pro of it, I guess, is that it keeps well, I guess the whole event being under the lights and having that many people watch and knowing you're on TV, that just keeps you that's just making you super alert, and hopefully adrenaline kicks in and you're really, really focusing on every shot.
Yeah, I mean, as far as playing under the lights, I mean, like literally playing with those lights is it really it takes some adjusting. I mean, because like especially with shadows, because when you play golf during the day, there's only one sun. When you're on the green, I mean, there's like, I don't know, 30 lights, circling you, and so there's shadows coming from every direction. It's hard to not put your shadow in somebody's line, but to me that was the most difficult thing is it's already dark, it's nighttime, and when the shadow would cover your putter or your club head or the ball, it was really hard to see, and that takes it makes it a little bit uncomfortable, and so you have to trust things, and you have to make adjustments, which is a lot. It's a lot of fun. It adds a whole different element to the game.
Well, you guys are going to be in the spotlight going forward now. You could argue you guys are the face of the league. I'll take some hate mail. I've already taken enough hate mail today from the rankings. So the grass league's coming back in spring of 2025. We're going to be releasing the schedule at the end of the week, and it's going to be the Grass Clippings Open to kick off the season. But there's going to be some other elements, some qualifiers to get in. Obviously, sounds like you guys have a solidified spot with the Swamp Dogs, but anything to say that you guys obviously have a target on your back? Anything regarding that going into the next season? Because there's some guys that are pretty hungry to come after you guys.
Yeah, so I'll just say one little quick story from the first tee the second day. The announcer was going. They're talking about Genghis and being on Golf Week. Another guy's playing a few U.S. Opens. This guy did that. This girl did this, and then it was just Billy Haynes and Dan Buchner from the Swamp Dogs. No resume, nothing. We stuck it on the first hole. Dan made the putt, and that's when I knew we could get it done. So I think we can continue to succeed as a team now that we have had this win under our belt. So we're pumped going forward.
Yeah, target on the back. I mean, I think it's a good position to be in, and I don't know, maybe between now and then, some of these guys who are sending you hate mail, I don't know, maybe we could do some cash games and meet up somewhere in the middle of the country. Bill, who knows? Get this thing going.
I'm a hired gun. I'll go.
I'm happy to back you guys too. So I'd love to get in on that action as well.
Yeah, anything to have a good time with golf. I'm up for
it. It's been great.
Well, this is honestly, thank you for being a part of the Grass League. And this is just the beginning. We have a lot planned and a long, a really detailed roadmap going from into 2025 and beyond. And I can't imagine you guys are going to be going anywhere. So I want to thank you, congratulate you. That was some of the best theater in golf I've ever seen. And I feel like I've watched a lot of golf and I was freaking out in the broadcast booth. So again, Billy Haynes, Dan Buchner, your guys' champions of the GL championship. They also top 10 to the GCO in the spring. So don't forget that. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. And I look forward to talking to you guys in the future.
Thanks, Todd. See you in the spring.
Appreciate everything. Thank you.
Go Swamp Dogs.
Swamp Dogs.
Go Swamp Dogs.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.